Alrighty, got some updates for you. Pardon the mess, but got pretty much it all ready to go to put on the poor man's fiberglass. And we're gonna do the Titebond 2 glue and then this canvas. So I decided going against, I was originally gonna go with the canvas, and then I decided I was going to do the landscaping fabric. And then I contacted the guy that did the landscaping fabric. He has a really nice build. I'll leave a link in the description. And he said he had some issues with it sticking down. I don't know. So I'm going back to the original, which is the, what do you call it? Canvas. So this side here, and this is the driver's side, I'm going to do this straight line, so all the way from the back here. I'm going to leave extra because I got a long sheet. I'm going to tack it on the top all the way down, and then I'm going to glue this whole side. And then I also brought the iron down here to try to iron it down a little bit. Sanded this down real good, all the joints, and this is OSB, so it kind of flakes a little bit. If I had to do this over again, I might not use OSB. And then I put construction adhesive kind of like in the cracks and stuff, you know. There's a little bit of a crack there, a little bit of a, you know, gap. So I put construction adhesive in there. Cut this window out real nice. And especially up here in the front, you know, more construction adhesive. This all the way around to kind of fill these grooves here a little bit. So they're not really cracks, I guess they'd be grooves. So this whole side is going to be one sheet all the way across. And the way I'm going to do that, because it's pretty long, is I'm going to tack it. So I'll come back and I'll show you the prep of it being tacked up there. Okay, I got the sheet up here, got all the glue on, and I kind of tacked it in place on the top. We'll trim that later. This is at a different angle, obviously, because the front is at an angle. And I put the glue on the OSB, and then I draped the sheet over. So what I did is, on the top I had it tacked up there in a row, then I brought it all back up on top, kind of rolled it up there, put the glue on, and then I just let the sheet of fabric come down and gently hang on here all the way to the bottom. And I'll do that underneath part later, but right now I'm just looking at like here, you know, and that's looking pretty good so far. So I'm actually, then I put a couple tacks here and around the side there just to kind of, you know, keep it up in place. It's looking pretty good so far. So what I'm going to do is, there's still a few wrinkles and stuff in here like that and that. I have the iron, and I'm going to iron it just with a regular iron, and hopefully that'll get the vast majority of that stuff up. This is kind of puffing out a little bit, so that's kind of a problem area there. I'll have to figure out something for that. Maybe I'll put like some twine or rope from here to there that kind of hold it in. But just a quick peek so far. We're back over here at the camper. We're doing the poor man's fiberglass. Want to show you guys the update here, and the front of the camper, obviously. This side over here has 2 coats. So the initial coat that glued it down, had to put this little string in here to kind of keep it from bending out on that that portion of the front of the camper, and then went over it again with the top coat. And I'm probably going to do 2 top coats. So it's looking pretty good. Like on the yellow part here, which is that Titebond 2, like you can hardly see any of the creases. Like there's a little crease, you know, like right there, there's a little bit of like that fold. But yeah, those are coming out pretty good. And then I did this other side over here as well. And this sheet is a 9x12, I think, or 8x12. And you know, I just tacked it into place in a few little areas. You really don't need to tack it too much, but that's more or less just to hold it in place. Tacked it up on top like I did the other side. Put the glue on. Over here I decided to put this board in place to kind of keep the fabric in tighter against that angle right there. But it looks really good. I just got done running the iron over it, and it's no problem. You can kind of see right here where the window is. So that's the window. That's not ironed. So everything else is ironed. Got a little bit of a crease that's actually in the window right there. It's a little tiny bit of a crease. I think that will come out when the second glue is done there. And then just kind of like tacked it in the back, you know. So we're doing these big side pieces first. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way that's coming. And then this is going to be another challenge here, kind of doing the under bit. That's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. So I'm not sure exactly if I'm gonna, you know, tack that underneath there, or put kind of like little, you know, braces underneath there, or what. So I'll address that. But so far what I'm doing is 2 different sheets, 1 on each side. And the reason I did 2 sheets this size is that there's no seams. And I think that looks really nice. And then I'll have yet another sheet that's even bigger coming right down the center and folding down and under. That again will be no seams. So they're doing it, you know, this way with different size sheets this way, as big as possible, but that's what I can manage. I think that's going to be, it's going to look real nice, and it won't have as many seams as if you were to like cut it up and, you know, to smaller little panels or something like that. So this is manageable with one. It's just me down here, and I'm just rolling it on with this little dollar store kind of roller. You know, it's $1. And I also have these cheap little sand blocks here. So went around and, you know, sanded it down. I got that cheap little roller and applying it, and it seems to be doing a pretty good job. So can't wait to see when it's done. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Down at the property again, and I've given you a little update here. This is what this looks like with 2 coats. So the first coat was the coat that like put it actually on, and then there's 1 coat on top. So if you want to consider that 1 or 2 coats. But like, feel how like, or listen how like hard that is, nice and smooth. This side I had like a little band here, and it has a little bit of inflection, so I'm going to fix that. And then on the other side I put that piece of wood over here, and I just screwed it down, and it's nice and tight in there. So I'm going to adjust that other side, put some glue in there, and put that piece of wood over there. So this side here, from here all the way down, has just the glue holding it in place. I'm going to put a top coat on this today. And then what I did as well is under here, I went ahead and I glued this bottom piece, and I think that's looking pretty good underneath there. And then I just held it up with like some push pins, like those little tabs right there, you know. And it's doing a pretty good job. The glue is just kind of holding it up on its own, but I like that. Well, I cut out the window too, so I'm gonna glue that down, so if any water gets down in there, that'll also be protected, waterproofed. And then I'll just trim that off. But I really like the choice of making this all 1 piece here, the side. And I think from the side you can see it's nice and crisp down there, and then this will get glued later down that way. But this part here, just this part here, got glued. And then same thing with the other side. This has the top coat on here, 1 top coat. It's a little rough, you can hear that, it's a little rough, so I'm going to sand that down. And then I went ahead, I did the same thing for this side as well, and tacked that in and glued it underneath. So so yeah, so I think it's doing pretty good. I mean, feel that. And then, you know, it's pretty tight against there. I don't know if you can, you know, see that. That's that part right there. So, you know, I mean, that's not coming off. You know, that's nice and glued on there. So yeah, so I'm really happy with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna sand that one side down that has two applications of the glue on there, and then this side over here I'm gonna put a top coat on here, and I've already ironed it, and I just got the regular iron. So and then depending on you know, how this turns out with the top coat, I'll probably you know, sand that down, and I may or may not put a third layer of glue on there. I'm just using these little cheapy rollers, like from the dollar store, little foam roller. It's doing a good job, and it's not like real nappy, you know, so I guess you could get like a bigger roller, but it hasn't been necessary, and I think that's doing a pretty good job. So I'm going to continue with that method, and then later on I'm going to have a whole nother sheet that goes across the entire top there, and that'll drape all the way down. So I'll take the measurements and prep the canvas at home, put it in the washer. I just wash and dry it. I don't put any soap in there. I just wash it with hot water and then run it in the dryer. And that's just to take off any kind of you know, like solvents or like oils or whatever during the manufacturing process that might prevent it from like sticking with the glue. So that's really all I'm doing. And then I'm ironing it on the camper. Seems to be working okay, I guess. I mean, we'll see what the finished product is like. But so far so good on this poor man's fiberglass. So we'll see you in a little bit. All right, hey you guys, over here, just a quick update real quick. I wanted to show you how I'm doing the top of this camper, which is like, I don't know, over 16 feet-ish long from the back all the way to the front. I'm doing this by myself, so I got to unroll the entire roll of the canvas up there. So I just had an old piece of, I don't know, like some kind of packaging or something I found in Home Depot's parking lot. And it was one of those like rolls. So I literally just put the roll in there, and I rolled the entire thing up, and then I'll just put the glue down, you know, and smooth it out. And up here, I'm just using, you know, climbing up there and smoothing it out, troweling it out. And then for this part right here, I just came up with this idea because the back was a little difficult to do. I'll just unroll it forward as the glue comes down. So I'm hoping that provides a, you know, a nice way, nice easy way to kind of like unroll it and get a nice clean bond. Because the goal is, it's not going to be perfect, but the goal is to, you know, get it to be like, you know, as smooth as possible without like wrinkles and stuff on there. So looking pretty good so far. I got to sand that, but yeah. So the goal is obviously not to have a bunch of wrinkles and stuff. So hopefully that will, I think that's going to work. I can just anticipate that that's going to work well. So I'll show it to you when it's done. Okay, you guys, here is that kind of like tube that I found, and it was really helpful in rolling this really long piece. This piece of canvas is much bigger than the other two side pieces, and I actually made kind of a small mistake. You can see the crease there. I didn't notice that it was a large piece, but what they did in order to make the large piece was to sew like a scrap piece on there. So I was kind of bummed when I saw that, but oh well, you live and you learn, and I guess they'll just embrace it, and I don't know, maybe I'll call it the racing stripe or something like that from now on. But this whole top piece turned out really nice, and it's going to overhang and provide like a really nice cap so that water doesn't get into the rest of it. All right, guys, another little update on doing this poor man's fiberglass. Some of the crevices and stuff were a bit more tedious than doing actually like the sidewalls. Those big sidewalls, a little bit more difficult to hold that big sheet over, but I mean a lot more easier to you know, smooth out because it was just basically flat and stuff. So the way I designed this is that this fits in perfectly into my truck, and there were a lot more corners and cracks and crevices. So if you can imagine kind of doing, you know, like a Christmas present where you like wrap every corner, but like on steroids, this would be it. And so, but what really helps are these little push pins, and especially like when you're going down like an edge or something, you know, just to hold it up, or to get it started, or when it's drying you can kind of like tuck it up, because you want to have like a nice, you know, curve, or what have you, nice seams, so to speak, trying to keep in mind that, you know, the water's coming from the top down. So I went up on the ceiling here, the roof, and boy did I really get that. You can see how yellow that is up there. And then I got to finish this front part here. Obviously I'll get this front part done really nice as well. But, you know, I really wanted to focus on any area where the elements are coming down, you know, strong. So definitely the roof, any cracks and crevices where like water would puddle, stuff like that. Definitely did focused on those. I was a little nervous about doing this under part here just because of gravity, but so far so good. It's pretty good. And this is the second coat under here. There's some patchwork in here, as you can see, but you know, that'll dry and sand out, and then paint, obviously, with paint, so it'll be nice and uniform. And then on top, that top part I had flapped over, so again that water would come down and it's not going to go back up inside the wall cavity there. So this is like a, you know, a nice kind of like cap there for the water to come down and over. And for the most part it looks pretty good, I think. I probably will come back and sand some of that stuff, but like back here, you know, it's kind of tricky back here. And then when that stuff hardens, it you know, it loses its flexibility, so that the canvas. But looking real good all the way around. I mean, down under there and everything. That's one of those areas. I'll trim it off, and I'm just using the cheapy, you know, scissors, you know, the kind like you would get at Harbor Freight for $1.99. It's basically disposable, and trimming that up, and then also just using the utility blade. So, but yeah, looking real good. Tucking these in real nice, and then this top part here is going to flap over, and then there's my little rain part right there that actually goes back in at an angle. So hopefully right here there will be the drip edge. I don't know if you can see that. So I'll focus on that again later in the different videos. But yeah, looking pretty good. Got a lot of this done all the way around. You know, you got to do patches on corners and stuff like that sometimes, because these things don't fold up, you know, exactly the way you want them to. Sometimes you get a little run, so you just get a little, your finger down there. So I just did that part. But I'm basically trying to, you know, like I said, I'll sand that down. You keep it so the rain falls down, and then when you're driving down the road this way, you know, that's why this one's flapped over, flapped down, again flapped over, you know. So that's because, you know, you're going to be driving down the road and the wind will be going this way and pushing it. So you want all those seams, try to get, you know, all those seams as best you can, you know, flapping the other way around, from where the wind and the rain and all the elements. You can't be perfect with everything, so be generous with the glue. So far to date, I think I've used 5 gallons of the Tight Bond 2. 4.5, probably about 4.5, almost 5 gallons. And I think I'm probably going to use a total of under 6 gallons. So over 5, under 6, you know, maybe if I have enough, and I'll go over a couple areas I think are kind of like trouble spots with some more. So say 6 total gallons on this camper, and I've been really generous with it. So I'll come back later and give you some updates. Hopefully the next update I'll give you, it'll be all ready like for paint and stuff, and then we'll start applying paint. So decided to go with a dark gray for the camper because my truck is black and I didn't want it to just kind of like disappear in the truck. So it's going to be a very dark gray with the camper, and then like the windows and stuff too are black, so the trim will be black. The door handle's black, so I think it'll look nice, you know, with the dark gray and then with the black trim. So anyhow, that's my theory. So hopefully it looks good. Thanks for following along on this project. I'm really happy with it.